So let's have a look at some of these. This is a standard Euro lock thumb turn. It's got one of our keys in it and a spring. This is for spring bumping. Now I can probably do this spring without this key without that. I put it in and I can see along the top that it's a 6-pin, and I can measure that up, and I know that I've got to put the key in to there so that each one of those peaks lines up in front of a pin like that, and then well, there you go, it's not having it. So I put a spring on it, and what the spring allows me to do is rapidly reset the key. And there you go, I overcame the problem of not being able to do it without that. This is a union lock, and these are dampeners. Since our keys have totally no shoulder, we give you the option of almost rebuilding a shoulder to your exact specifications with dampeners, including we have rubber ones which allow for the give, you know, so that when you're striking the key, most of the force is taken in the dampener, dampening the force as it were, and not the key. What's actually happening here is each peak is being set to exactly in front of the pin, so that when I strike this quite hard, the peaks in front of the pins are mimicking the minimal movement method. So the energy is transformed through the key into the first pin, up to the second pin, the shear line is clear, and we can turn the key. Like I say, you have to hit it a bit harder with this, but you're not damaging the lock or the key because the force is taken out in the dampeners. I put my finger there for the turning pressure, so that when the pins have cleared the shear line, the key will be allowed to turn. And there you go, it turned. And you know, that's not the key for that. Here's some more dampening. This is a 5-pin ISEO lock. Again, using a rubber one towards the end of the key to absorb some of the force, and there you go. This is, I think it's an Ian Firth, which are generally just Yale barrels with the logo changed. Again, very little joy bumping this lock alone. Various techniques I've used, not having too much success. Put the lock spring on it, and again I've cropped this lock spring. When you get your springs, they will all be generally larger than necessary, and you have to crop them to get the exact distance you want between key and lock. And remember, you're just trying to set up these peaks to the most advantageous position within the lock. So you saw me trying without it, not much luck. With the spring, absolutely nothing to it. This is another union barrel, and again, using dampeners here. The key, absolutely no join there. I can see along the top that it's a 5-pin lock, and what I managed to do with the dampeners was actually work it like that. If you see, I start there and I can go up the lock so that each pin is just before, and if I push that and the rubber dampeners allow me to, you should see the effect that you want to create. Again, for this technique you have to hit it quite hard, but you're not damaging lock or key because of the damping. Here we go. Again, my fingers there, applying a slight turning pressure. And that's a union lock made easy. Notoriously hard to bump union locks. With this lock, what I want to show you is a technique where you use your finger, and it's all in the turning pressure of this technique. You start with your finger there. As you strike the key, you move it to there, just pushing down, just like that. And with any luck, there you go, first time. Yeah, it's a good technique. Used again here. This is a typical Yale cylinder. Put it in. It's a 5-pin cylinder. You can see along the bottom, so I can line up the peaks like that. I can choose whether I want to use the tip as the first peak there, or be further in like that. So I tend to go for the tip as the first peak. With my finger there, what I've had to do there is reset all the pins, because some of them had bound when I was hitting it before. If I'd have carried on trying with some pins up and some pins down, it would eventually damage the lock. Occasionally you want to reset it, just make sure you've got no pins binding, and start again. And there you go. That Yale barrel. Same again with this. This is an old Wagner security lock. This technique of the finger sliding seems to work well with these barrels. If you watch, my hands are at particularly awkward positions for this, but there you go, nice. These are making quite an appearance at the moment. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because they don't cost very much to make, but to be honest with you, they don't take much to bump either. You know, I could probably... That was just showing off, but there's really not much to it. It's a 5-pin lock, but you can use either the tip as the first peak or have it forward like that. The shoulder of our keys actually makes the first tip, if you can see that there. There's the end of the shoulder, and that makes the first peak, and the tip makes the last. So each key can do 5 and 6.